Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So here we go. LR tier list update. The 9th anniversary has been very good. Now, I do think that there's a lot of fights that have buffed a lot of older characters, right? Certainly some characters such as Super Trunks, Kale, probably Turles, right? Like, you could name a lot of 2023 characters. Android 21, I think, is a good example, too, of characters who are going to be better suited for some of these fights. But just because they're better suited for some of these fights, the top characters have fallen off. So, 23rd World Tournament Goku is still good enough to run. He can still help you win easily, but he's not going to be good enough anymore to just be the complete anchor of the team and sit in slot 1 the whole way through the run. He's not going to be able to do that. I mean, you could with perfect RNG. Again, I see these things. Yeah, you can do it with perfect RNG, but you're not going to get that most of the time, right? So, understand that as we go into this list. Right now, the entire anniversary has only been LR characters, which we've never had before. Well... yeah, because the 6th anniversary had the Int UI Goku EZA. 5th anniversary had... I'd have to go back and double check what the EZAs were. I mean, there must have been something during the 5th anniversary. But even all the EZAs during this 9th anniversary have been LRs. Like, it's just all LRs. LRs completely run the game, and there's very few TURs who are even going to matter at all. I mean, EZA Keflon Global is going to be, like, she's gargantuan. She's more on par with some of these characters than most characters in the game, right? So let's just jump in. I think that this list probably is going to piss people off, I guess. But, I mean, there's only one character on here who I feel like I want to do more testing on, but she should still be performing pretty well. So number 10, we have Future Gohan. LR Future Gohan, I mean, he's still very good. I mean, just because he's dropped to 10 does not mean that he sucks or he's balls or something like that. The thing about Future Gohan is he was designed more so for the Fusion Zamasu meta, right? Where Fusion Zamasu is just really tough right away and the fights are a little bit shorter. Even, you know, the top characters in the game right now are doing 500 attacks, guaranteed crits, right? The bosses are melting, but, like, you could still get to turn 7, 8, right? And stuff like that. The fights do feel a little bit longer. So, Future Gohan, I mean, he's going to be losing his intro buff in a lot of these fights. And, I mean, Future Gohan, after losing the intro buff, he's not able to tank the high-end bosses anymore. That's the difference, is that, you know, Physical Fusion Zamasu was, you know, really scary with his, like, borderline 2 million-ish damage. And now we have, like, multiple bosses that are over 3 million. So, you know, characters like Future Gohan, 23rd World Tournament Goku, LR Bulma, Orange Piccolo, right? These characters that could tank much better now are not really able to tank, right? It's the new class of characters. Evolution Blue Vegeta, Broly, Beast, you know, one of the UI Goku's dodging, something like that is what's needed. But Future Gohan can still be effective. Another thing that hurts Future Gohan, I'm just telling you, a lot of people, the way they care about this game is, like, they want to see their favorite characters get, like, really good characters, stuff like that. I don't even think that's crazy, and, like, I do get that, right? But if you are someone where it's like you're waiting for this cool character, finally they're coming with good animations, the one thing you do not want to see them have is a domain right now. Goresh is telling me that Japanese players are going crazy about this currently, especially after they saw the Global First Rosé. So, I mean, I would say it's in play. This could be updated. The problem is that domains can't overwrite each other. That is the issue. Once a domain is up, no other domain can go up until that one leaves. That is the problem. The way the game should be structured is you create a domain and then another domain could override it. If they did that, it's a significant buff. LR Fusion Zamasu skyrockets probably back onto this list if you could use his domain, because you could transform with him and he's immortal, right? Broly would be way better. You know, Future Gohan would be better. So it's like, that's something really to keep in mind, right? So, yeah, there's Future Gohan. He's still good, but he's not top-end good anymore. Future Gohan, I mean, in, like, EZAs and Super Battle Royals and stuff like that, he should have a long lifespan, though, because those first couple of turns having 80% damage reduction, he'll work well. He will definitely work well. Now next is Bulma. We have Bulma right here at 9. Bulma's the one character I do need to get a little bit more time in. I have not really used Bulma too much, because obviously she doesn't really have a place on like the superhero team and stuff like that. But like if we run Earthbred Fighters, we got Beast on there. We have UI on there. Bulma will be very effective because remember, the thing about Bulma doesn't need to go in slot 1, doing 50 million attack sets to be good or tanking to be good. No matter what, she's still doing 2 things that are huge. She's giving 2 turn support and she's rainbow orb changing. So her impact on the fight is huge pretty much no matter what. These supports are really good. Bulma, after attacking, she could still be fairly tanky. If Sword of Hope Trunks is about to blast her ass, though, I mean, she's not going to be tanking that, of course. Right? That's the thing about 2023 characters. The top characters are not able to tank the top bosses anymore. The understand, the 2024 characters can. 2023 characters can't really tank these top bosses, really. That's going to be a thing. Now, Bulma, this is something that's going to be more in play right now. Bulma guards this part of her intro. She guards for the first 7 turns. So you could lose this. It's not the biggest deal though, because like fights, I think like turn 9-ish is where we're really potentially cutting it. Like it depends on what team we're running, obviously. But I mean, I would run around Earthbound Fighters. We'd have like Beasts around or something like that. So the thing with this is once you lose that, you do still have her active, which can function. Well, yeah, it can function as a full heal, right? You're going to be getting all allies are getting the extra support. But then remember, Bulma herself is a nuking character. So Bulma's stats on her active turn, after she double super, she guaranteed would double super, right? Like her stats would be looking pretty good. She would be tanky. So Bulma, you're not putting her slot 1, which, maybe hurts her value a little bit, but she was iffy in slot 1, even a lot of times against like Fusion Zamasu and stuff like that, right? A lot of times it's like, we have her there because, it's not like we could do much better. But Bulma is still a monster in like slot 2 or slot 3, impacting the team with the support, the active skill, and the rainbow orb changing. So I see no reason to drop her below this. Next, now, basically the rest of this is 9th anniversary characters. If you didn't come out in the 9th anniversary, you're not here, basically. Where are they? Blue Kaioken, Evolution, Blue Vegeta. They're very good. They have one of these busted-ass mechanics, guaranteed crits at 24 key, which is supremely OP. They're creating rainbow orbs all over the place. They do just ridiculous amounts of damage. I literally have only ever gotten value out of this one time ever, though, which is crazy, which is when your HP is below 50% or less, and then they attack, right, because your key needs to be at 24, you get that damage reduction right there. I've only ever had that impact a fight one single time. And I believe that one time I had Vegeta's revive up anyway. But they're just very good. This is a great character. I really like what they did. I can see myself running them all the time. Why, chat? Because they rainbow orb change. That shit is too good, man. You need this. It really just makes things so much more smooth. This character is such an easy run because they're rainbow orb changing. And then they do a million, billion, trillion guaranteed crits. Many high bosses can be attack debuffed, including the hardest hitting boss right now, Gogeta, can be debuffed. So, I mean, maybe we beast Gohan active, all attacks aimed to him, then they're on the rotation, and they super, 3 or 4 times, they'll really cut Gogeta's damage down. I mean, it's not going to be enough to where, like, future Gohan is tanking a slot 1 or something like that, but they'll cut Gogeta's damage down a little bit, which will help. Remember, attack debuffing, the bosses are hitting so hard that this will help, but the amount of debuffs you have to do to really make like a weaker character be able to tank is a lot. But they're very good. I love that character. I think they did a great job. All the EZAs, UI Sign, Broly, Chila, and Lemo, and them have been fantastic. And then obviously, we're going to get to them. Next is the Gamas. Gotma 1 and 2, a little bit low here. I mean, I certainly think they could have been made a little bit better. We could talk about that right here. So the Gamas are super duper good, but I do feel like they could have used a little, I think they could have been made a little bit stronger. And I also think that they could have gotten like another thing added. Now, turn 1, this character is not the greatest. I mean, at least before they do their 3 attacks. After they do 3 attacks, they get 30% damage reduction. 30% is pretty low. I mean, you're never running this character in slot 1, though, so they're going to have, you know, a lot of defense from up here. I think that this character should have something else, though. I don't know, maybe a scouter on the turn, maybe Rainbow Orb changing, something. It does feel like they need one more thing, because in my experience using them, it doesn't feel like they're quite as dominant as a couple of the other LRs during the 9th anniversary. They fill out a great role as a support. You guys got to understand, these support characters are just so very good. They could get a lot of crit chances. They could do a lot of attacks. I mean, they're very good. Their standby is very easy to do, which obviously is super awesome too. We have their standby right there where they're pretty similar. Once we drop Gamma 2 and get to Gamma 1, this guy is very dominant. This is stupidly broken. You know, depending upon your orb luck, this guy is going to be mega tanky, guaranteed crits, guaranteed additional, really good. But I do think that the earlier phases of the Gammas could get something. I mean, these fights do go on long now, but I mean, I've had many runs where it's like, all right, the Gammas are in turn 2, and then the enemy has like 3 health bars, Beast kills him with the guaranteed crits, and then before you know it, it's turn 5, and they've done no attacks. And it's like, you know, that's the thing that happens a lot. So I just feel like they should be getting a little bit more early on. I would really like to, if they had made the Core Breaker a guaranteed crit. When you do these big attacks like this, it's so much better if they're just a guaranteed crit. The Sword of Hope, the Spirit Bomb, stuff like that. Like, it's just so nice doing, you know, UI Evolution Blue Vegeta's actives and it's just guaranteed crits or something like that. I do really love that. Gammas are good, but I don't think that they're quite up to par with a lot of the rest of the characters. Now, right here, I'll tell you guys, there's a cutoff. I think that this is kind of a tier at the bottom. I have probably the most tiers of the top 10 I think I've ever had. So this is a tier, these 4. We'll look at the full list in a little bit. All right, next, this is where people are going to get really mad, but, I mean, y'all are just going to have to hear me out, and we're just going to have to have a long conversation about damage, man. I mean, when I build these lists, if you guys notice, I do want to stay in the here and now, but I do like to have an eye towards the future as well. Characters that will age good. This is one reason maybe I'm more favorable towards dodge characters than a lot of people, because dodge characters will out-age just tanking characters, right? Like, eventually, UI Goku's going to out-age Evolution Blue Vegeta, because there'll come a point where Vegeta can't really tank that well, and UI Goku, you know, is going to be dodging, right? It always, we've seen, like, we know this. We've seen it. It's not new. Damage is made to be replaced. You're only the hottest damage dealer until you're not. And then, you know, you start to fall off a little bit. Now, next comes, I can't find him. My eyes are glazing over. I'm so sorry. Broly. Broly is next at 6. What's so funny about this is, I mean, if I made this list a little while ago, Broly would have been like 2 or 3 or something. But, you know, once UI Goku comes in, Evolution Blue Vegeta, and now we've got the new toughest fights. Early on, Broly is not the craziest. I mean, Gogeta and Broly had a weakness when they first came out, I thought, of being kind of weaker at the start of fights. Now, when they first came out, we were still essentially kind of in, like, the Fusion. Like, Fusion Monster is still pretty much the toughest fight, right? So, like, that was more relevant. I would argue that doesn't really matter so much now. Broly and Gogeta being weak at the start doesn't feel... Like, I don't feel like I lose with Broly or Gogeta because of how they perform at the start of the fight. I mean, I guess in my Super Bosses versus Gogeta run, I did have base Broly just get nuked by Gogeta once in there, but, like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's not like a super common thing to where it's like, oh my god, it's such a terrible flaw. Right, so more often than not, you are going to transform a Broly. Broly's very dominant. I do think Broly, like, once he transforms, like, just like his combo of attack and defense, he is kind of like the strongest character, right? Like, I mean, you could in a vacuum say transform Broly is 1, and I would agree. Like, we were talking about this with Nano. Nano said, am I crazy for thinking that, you know, transform Broly is number 1? And I told him, no, you're not crazy at all for thinking that. Like, I agree. Like transform Broly is probably better than Beast, but except transform Broly is debuffing all the characters around him. Now is where we get in the conversation of talking about the shitty, how shitty villains in Dokkan are. What a shock. I mean, we have 2 really good villains that came out during the 9th anniversary. This one and Broly, Chulai, and Lemo, they don't make the list. Them and UI Sign are, you know, 11 and 12. But Broly is debuffing all the good characters you're running him with his domain, which right here. I don't know. I've had this affect me a little bit. I mean, certainly this is not going to cause you to lose a run taking damage on like Beast Gohan or Evolution Blue Vegeta or something like that. But the difference between Broly, who's sitting at 6, is he's debuffing your allies, whereas the rest of the characters in front of him, literally all 5, are protecting the team. All 5 characters in front of Broly are team protectors, and Broly is a goddamn team debuffer, dude. That's the thing. Broly can sit in slot 1 and do 6 30 million attack sets. Oh my god, he's gorgeous, he's wonderful, he's stupendous. And then the slot 2 character gets murdered. And that's the difference between Broly and the characters in front of him. Characters in front of him can literally protect the weaker characters. Broly is just, I'm sitting there, I'm looking so pretty, I'm so sexy, I do so much damage. Guys, don't you love damage? We all love damage. Damage, damage, damage. But he's not doing very much for the weak-ass characters that are sitting around him. Now, I mean, if you want to run, the transformation boost full power, so we're running Broly, Beast, Evolution Blue Vegeta, Blue Kaioken, Evolution Blue Vegeta, Gogeta. Like, yeah, you're going to work fine because you have, a couple superior characters in front. Broly can kind of just coast, sit there again, and do his crazy damage. One thing I will say, too, is Broly defensively is one of the few, once he transforms, one of the few handful of characters that could really go toe-to-toe with Blue Gogeta's damage, Sword of Hope Trunks' damage. There's only a very small few, and Broly is one of those. Broly is very good, but again, the difference between Broly and the characters in front of him is the characters in front of him are directly, like, saving other characters around, and that shit, I just value it so much. I mean, it's not new. We knew how good Orange Piccolo's transformation was. Now we have more characters who are available to do these types of things, right? So Broly's good, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's mostly just like the damage baiter's fantasy character. Oh my god, he's doing so much damage. Oh, damage. We love damage. All right, next is Power Awakening Piccolo. Kind of a huge drop-off for him. Down to 5. God damn. Here's the thing with Power Awakening Piccolo. You guys remember when I was talking about Future Gohan and Bulma, right? I think they're very good still. Like, I don't hate them. I don't think, like, oh my god, they suck. But they can't tank against the top-level bosses. Piccolo, it's the same thing. Piccolo, in base, I mean, I guess if you get this up, he's going to be a lot better. But, like, guys, this shit is so rare. I've legitimately gotten this, like, once or twice ever with him. Like, you don't see this. If this was a little bit more of, like, a manageable thing where you could get this up, I could have Piccolo in front of Gogeta, who will just grab Gogeta's next right here. But I've just found, again, Piccolo is much better than Gogeta and Broly at the start of the fights. Again, we're, over here on this channel, we don't really get baited by damage flavor of the month typically. I know Broly and Gogeta do a lot of damage early on, but Piccolo has superior value with a stronger defense at the start of the fights. But in a lot of these tougher fights, I don't know that that's really that big of a factor anymore. I don't, like, the same way I don't really feel like Broly and Gogeta are getting me killed early on, I don't feel like Piccolo is saving me early on either. Oh, thank God we have Piccolo in this rotation or something like that. Like, I'm not really thinking that. So that's something to account for. Piccolo, towards the end of the fights, can definitely get killed. And that's why we have Gogeta in front. But Piccolo has the best active in the game by far. No character has an active even close to him. I mean, I guess we could say LR Ribrienne, actually. It's like a very similar active skill. She could do hers just on turn 6, like Piccolo could do it on turn 6 with a superhero rotate. Like if it's not a superhero rotation, Piccolo's is turn 6 and Ribrienne's would be turn 6 as well. But like it's just too good. It takes away the boss AoEs, boss super attacks, all the stuff. Right now, potentially the toughest fight in the game. I don't want to marry myself to the idea that Gogeta is the hardest fight in the game, but potentially the hardest fight in the game, Gogeta. He becomes really crazy after he supers. Because he raises his attack by 100% when he supers, which just, it makes, like, Int Gold and Frieza, you guys know how good he is, was taking 180k normals from that Gogeta after supering. Frieza was taking 180k normals. Like, it's so tough to tank that Gogeta. But what if you just orange Piccolo and then take away the ability for the boss super attack? Bam. And then all of a sudden he's a kitten, right? He's not doing AoEs. It's not supering. His normals aren't unblockable. I don't see it, man. I see a lot of people try and downplay this guy dramatically. I just don't see it. The team protector abilities are too good. Too good, too strong against these bosses that now hit so hard. It's very difficult to just live against how hard the bosses hit. Right now, whereas like Fusion Zamasu would kind of like whittle you down typically, right, with his AoEs and stuff like that, and then kind of, kill you. These bosses really hit so hard, they just outright blow you away, right? Like, I've had Beast Gohan. He didn't get one-shotted, but he took 500k and then he died to normals. I've had Evolution Blue Vegeta one-shotted. I've had Gogeta one-shotted, right? Like, all these characters can be one-shot. Potentially, except for Broly. I've not seen Broly get one-shot. But the giant form is just way too good. It's way too good. I'm not listening to someone say, oh, it's so long and boring. Don't care. I'm talking about how strong it is. And that's why Piccolo is this high up. Now, why do I have Gogeta in front of him? Well, Gogeta does have the Rainbow Orb changing the entire way through, which I really like. But Gogeta, I do not have fear when this guy is in blue. This guy has saved. He's been locked in slot 1 against devastating supers and he's just so crazy. His active is obviously nuts. I mean, he drops 20 million and then forces all attacks on him and guaranteed dodges. Right now, this is why I like him over Broly. Again, Broly will do more damage. Broly will tank better. Broly looks better. But then the slot 2 character gets killed and you lose. Broly couldn't do anything about it. Whereas Gogeta, you pop the active and you can't lose unless the boss cancels dodge, which the recent wave of boss fights did not add dodge canceling. There was quite a few dodge canceling fights during the anniversary, which I do think is a good idea, by the way. I think it's I like a variety of fights. Like, so different characters can shine. Dodge characters could be good, but there's got to be like dodge canceling fights. I'm in favor of that. But the toughest fights, the absolute toughest ones, do not cancel dodge. So Gogeta is dancing and prancing with that active, and he's just crazy. I love him. I do think whereas Piccolo, I have fear with him towards the end of the fights because he could get caught, right? But Gogeta, no, he cannot. I mean, he can, but it doesn't really happen. Gogeta's really good. I like Gogeta. I'm fine. I'm fine with this so far. Again, the top 5 all has team protector abilities. That's the difference between them and Broly. If Broly had this, you literally swap the domain and this, and Broly is competing with Beast. If you literally just swap this for Broly's domain, Broly is competing with Beast Gohan. Absolutely. These are just a necessity right now. Like, you need to have characters on the team that can protect the team. And Broly, unfortunately, he's not one of those. Now, next, we could grab the next two, UI and Vegeta. I do think UI and Vegeta are in a tier of their own. They do seem ultra powerful, and just like, the last couple of characters, they do essentially have easy team protector abilities. Vegeta has to get hit 5 times, and then he can revive. Now, I've had really bad luck with this, but just like the Gamas, we were running the Gamas videos, and I was sitting there saying, I don't know, guys, like, I don't think that the Gamas suck ass. I think I'm just getting pretty bad luck. Like, I was saying that. Like, I think we're actually just kind of, like, seeing, like some pretty bad luck shit happen. I think it's the same thing with Vegeta. I've had some, I think, just... I mean, I had a run today where Vegeta 5 dodged, 3 attacks, we didn't get the revive, and then Vegeta got 1 shot. Like, I just think that that's bad luck. And that's not actually going to be like a sign of how things are going to go with Vegeta over this next year, over 2024. I don't think so, right? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that Vegeta, the main reason I have Vegeta above UI, there's several reasons. I think Vegeta has a much tighter kit than UI, but the main reason I have Vegeta above UI is because of the revive. I think as time goes on, eventually Vegeta's revive will prove to be stronger than UI Goku's, which is why I like Vegeta above UI Goku. UI Goku's is great. HP under 77% is certainly not that bad, but the way these fights are structured, Vegeta just get hit 5 times should be better. But if you're me and you just have the worst luck ever and Vegeta starts in slot 7 and then he 5 dodges a million attacks, I mean, yeah, it's tough, dude. But there's that. Now, I think Vegeta and UI Goku are on a tier by themselves. So we're pretty much only comparing them to each other. They mostly have a lot of the same strengths. UI Goku, though, has a couple of flaws. This I don't like right here. Vegeta does not have this. So if your HP is low, Goku loses stats. Now, I get that, oh, okay, but you have the revive up. Sure, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it, right? Like, just because you have the revive up does not mean you're going to die and get the revive. So Goku just loses stats for no reason, whereas Vegeta does not, right? He does not lose stats when you lose HP. The other thing I really like about Vegeta is that, I mean, if Vegeta gets supered right away, he'd get killed by the biggest bosses. But, like, you know, if maybe we'd have a scouter or something and you see the boss super attack in slot 2, and then we put Vegeta in slot 2, and he's getting 50% defense here and 50% defense here. And remember, they have the 77% chance of an additional super. So Vegeta could build up a lot of defense, really be sitting in position to tank well with his damage reduction and stuff. Whereas UI, they didn't give him defense on here. Now, I've seen UI above 1 million defense many times. I've seen Vegeta above 1 million defense as well, though. And I don't know why UI Goku just can't get like 30% defense on each of these. It matters. It does factor in. It does. I get that UI Goku's a dodge character. At his best, he's literally not getting hit anyway, right? He does guaranteed dodge his first turn, and he guaranteed dodges if he revives, sure. But I feel like you guys are following with what I'm saying. These guys, though, are great. Their W's are major W's. I do like the crit support is nice. I do like how they have the 23rd World Tournament Goku mechanic right here. Both Vegeta and Goku get buffs. It doesn't have to be their revive, but if someone else revives, they get their buffs. They have guaranteed crit at 24 key, which is pretty easy to get for both. So they're frequently, double super guaranteed critting, triple super guaranteed critting. It's just a very common thing for both of them to do. They're just very impressive characters. This is what we want EZAs to look like. They have good link sets around 1 million teams. Both UI and Evolution Blue Vegeta, they just get dropped. Look at these teams, man. These are all, they don't have restrictions. We don't have to worry about allies and all this nonsense. Goku and Vegeta are actually just dropped on, 15 plus categories to be a major asset too. These guys are great. These guys are awesome. Very, very great. And then we just get to him. Beast. I can't believe it. Now, if I had made a tier list before, what is this? Oh, this is just still up. If I had made a tier list before UI and Evolution Blue Vegeta had come out, Beast would have had an empty space, and then the next characters would have started at S. That's how crazy it would have been. But I do think UI and Evolution Blue Vegeta, they actually would fill in that empty space. I feel good about this. This looks really good to me. Again, Broly could be higher, but whereas, you're going to be running Broly with Beast and Gogeta and Blue Kaioken and Evolution Blue Vegeta, like those, the villain fodder characters from last year are sucking ass in the biggest fights. Whereas, we're using these gods of the game right here. Broly is debuffing them. I mean, you could say whatever you want to, but it is a factual statement that Broly is debuffing them. Right? Whereas all 5 characters in front of Broly have team protection mechanics. So understand, that's why Broly's at 6 and these characters are above, because they have better mechanics than Broly, which is protecting the team. Now, Beast just does everything. He's a character pretty much without flaws. The only thing, I guess, is you potentially, maybe could have trouble with this. I mean, I have had Beast get killed before because I haven't been able to do this, mainly because of bosses locking, but I mean, it's in play. Every character can be caught, though. I mean, this was true in 2023. This is pretty much always true, right? UI Goku was once upon a time the best unit in the game. I mean, he could be caught, right? He could just not dodge. These things happen. But this guy's kit is flawless. It's tight. He has great links. He's on a lot of teams. He doesn't really have restrictions. He does guaranteed crits all over. He's ludicrous. He's stacking. It's the argument exists that maybe is he too good? I don't know. Considering where the bosses are at right now, I think Beast is fine. I don't think that he's too good, right? People were mainly saying he was too good before we got the part 3 content, which is one of the things that I and others were talking about. So there we go. I don't really feel like I need to talk too much about Beast. I only Silly Billy's even like question that if Beast is like what, like it's just it's agreed upon. Like yeah, Beast is number one. So looking at this again, yep, we are looking good. We are again looking good right there. And here was the last list I did, and it's just this was 3 weeks ago. This is 3 weeks ago. This is crazy to look at, right? Like this is just huge changes across this list. This character I think is probably hurt quite a bit. This character is hurt as well because they can't really tank the hardest bosses anymore. I mean, Fusion's Monster's solid, but I mean, I really wish we could use his domain. The blues, they're just so risky at the start, but I mean, obviously, Blue Vegito can be good, and we could see Blue Vegito, but you just got to be so cautious with Blue Goku and Vegeta now. Yeah, so there's that, and then now this is what we're looking like. Again, I feel comfortable about this. Let me know what you guys think. LR Beast Gohan Supremacy, 9th anniversary power creep is a thing. If last year is any indication, we may kind of, tomorrow night, we're getting the new Cell Max fight and movie Red Zone Boss Rush. Those might be the last difficult content stages we get, potentially until Tanabata, potentially until Global is synced. So this moving forward is essentially kind of going to be like the hierarchy of power. Remember that TURs right now are really bad. I mean, we'll see where Physical Goku Black is going to come in on JP. What other characters are going to be dropping, but LRs are currently running the game. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Mwah! And I'll catch you guys next time.